Hey guys, welcome back to Sports Betting Truth, and today we're going to talk about baseball and baseball models, baseball statistical analysis. This is the next video in my series that I'm doing for baseball. Now, today's video is going to be the table setter for the series, and it's going to be all about data sources. Now, there's a ton of baseball data out there on the web, right? You got baseball reference, you got Fangraphs, but we're not going to use either of those today. We're going to use my favorite data source, Savant. And that's the thing about baseball, is that there's so much data out there. How do you determine what's important and what's not? Well, that's what this video is going to focus on, data sources and granularity. How deep do you want to go with your data? What do you want to use? What do you want to ignore? And all that type of stuff. So without any further ado, we're going to get into Savant and how to use it and how to determine what's important and how deep to go. So when it comes to baseball stats, there's a lot of good places out there to get stats from that are free, Fangraphs, Baseball Reference, but the problem with sites like that is that they don't really give you an easy option to get play-by-play data, which I think is very important for a baseball model. It's not absolutely required. You can kind of maybe be all complex and everything and try to break down a box score and kind of guess what the play-by-play was, but it's not worth the effort because you have Savant from MLB Statcast, and with Savant, you don't need to do all that. So there's a lot of paid data sources out there as well, but I think Statcast gives you everything you need, pretty much. Not everything you need, but for a free data source, it's very good. And I was actually kind of apprehensive when it came to making this video because I was worried that me kind of raising more awareness about Statcast would, make it so popular that MLB puts it behind a paywall or makes it hard to get data from or whatever. But you know what? I'm going to go and make the video anyway. I don't think they would do that. So we all need to thank MLB for doing what they do and making this public and making it free because it is awesome. I wish other sports follow the lead of MLB because I think this is a good thing. It makes people interested in the statistical side of the sport, and that's a good thing. So anyway, this is Statcast. So what Statcast does is it's pretty much like a free-for-all of all the pitches that have happened in baseball since 2008. So you can even get pitch-by-pitch data if you want to, but we'll talk about that more in a second. So there's a lot going on here, but really, in my opinion, the most important thing to do here is keep it simple and just try to get play-by-play data. Now, how you do that is that in this flag section, you select is last pitch, and that only gives you the pitch that resulted in a play. And with that, you only need to select batter right here, which is what I do. You can select pitcher as well, but I think it's better if you select batter. And then from there, all you need to do is select a date. You want to be careful here because, yeah, you could run it for the entire 2020 season, but that query will take forever, and also you're only limited to exporting 40,000 plays at a time. And I found that a month worth of play-by-play data is about 38,000 or so plays on average, between 30 and 38,000 depending on what's all going on that month. So you only want to do it at most a month at a time. That can make grabbing data, if you want to go all the way back to 2008 like I did, that can make it pretty tedious. And I actually did it month by month for every season going back to 2008. I did do it, but I have done it. So I've thought about making all of the data I've compiled and downloaded public myself, so you guys don't have to do that. So I might do that. Maybe I'll put it behind a membership or something and charge you guys $3 for it. Just I would pay $3 to not have to do that process. But anyway. So a month at a time is what you do at a most, but just for the sake of this video, I'm just going to do a day from the, let's go to the 2019 season, an actual season. 2020 was a weird season, so let's just do, for example, let's do the day I went to Las Vegas, August 24th, and then we'll end it at August 25th. So a couple days worth of data, just for the example. And then you just click search, and it's going to group it by player. So this is what it shows, and it might not look like play-by-play data to you, but that's why you click on this little gray icon right here, not the blue disc, but you click on this gray. I don't even know what that icon is. You click on that, and then it will download the data, and then you open the data, and now you have play-by-play data. So there's a lot going on here. So I'm going to kind of explain what's important, what's not, but there's a bunch of different columns here, and it's play-by-play data. So pitch type, like cut fastball, changeup, knuckle curve, game date, release speed. I don't know how important that would be to anybody. Release position Z. So kind of like a release point, speed. Then you got the name of the batter, the ID of the batter, very important, IDs, and the pitcher ID. So every player in MLB has a unique ID. So you're going to want to use those because you're like, well, I could just match players based on name. But remember, some players share the same name. There's 3 Luis Garcias, for example. There's 2 Will Smiths. So you don't want to do that. And then we have events. So the event is very important. What happened on the play? What happened on the play? Description is kind of more like, a strikeout. Was it a swinging strike? Was it a called strike? Spin direction. I don't see anything populated for that. Like, there's nothing really populated for these things. And we'll get more on that in a second. Zone, I think, is where the ball was hit to. I think. I don't know what zone means, and I don't use it. I don't use that column. And then, like, a bigger description, what happened on the play, like what you'd see in a play-by-play. So game type, R stands for regular season. Stand, where does the batter stand in the batter's box, right or left? Pitcher throws, what hand does he throw with? Also very important, guys. Splits are very important. The home team, the away team, the type of pitch, strike, ball, or contact. X is contact. Hit location, I think that's the position it was hit to. Like 2 would be catcher, 6 would be shortstop. Batted ball type, that's also very important as well. You need that column. Because field out, okay, a field out, but what kind of out was it? Well, it tells you what kind of out it was right here. What the count was, balls and strike-wise, when the play happened, the year of the game. Pitch FX, so this is pitch FX data. If you want to get that granular, you can, but I don't. We'll talk about that more in a second. If there is a runner on third, and if there was, who was on third, who was on second, who was on first. Now, this data is important when it comes to calculating the probability of things like a runner going from first to third on a single, a runner scoring from second on a single, a runner scoring from first on a double, stuff like that. A runner tagging from second to third on a flyout. Outs when the batter was up, the inning top bot. This is important right here, the inning top bot column to see which side was batting at the time. So if it's bottom, then you know that the Cubs, the home team, were up on this line. HCX and HCY, I don't know what that stands for, and honestly, I don't care. I don't know what TFS depreciated or TFS Zulu depreciated is. The fielder that made the play, I'm pretty sure. Or that might be the catcher. Yeah, that's the catcher. Fielder 2 is catcher. Umpire, it's never populated. SVID, never populated. So if you're looking for umpire data, you're not going to get it from here. That's one of the things this doesn't have. So that's something you'll have to get from a third-party source. This is all more like Statcast craziness that I don't focus on. SC top, SC bottom, I don't know what that is. Hit distance might be important. Launch speed, I don't know, you might want to use that. Launch angle, effective speed, release spin rate of the ball, release extension, like all that stuff is very granular. We'll get to more on that. Like I said, game pack is very important. You're going to want to have that because that's like the unique idea of the game. So if a team plays a doubleheader and you're trying to group by date, then you can group by game pack as well and split out the 2 games of the doubleheader that were played on the same day for a team. All right, pitcher, the idea of the pitcher again, fielder 2, catcher, first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, shortstop, left field, center field, right field. Release position Y is just more release stuff. Estimated batting average using speed angle, I don't know what that is. Like, I don't go into that much detail, guys. WABA is a stat. Batting average balls in play is a stat. ISO, launch speed angle, again, at bat number. So bat number is important because it's like the play to, so number 1 would be the top of the first inning, no outs, and so on. So the at bat number of the game. Pitch number is also very important. Is how many pitches the batter faced until the play was made. So that's important for determining how many the average number of pitches, for example, a batter faces in an at-bat, or how many pitches an average pitcher throws per at-bat. That way you can calculate, like if you're doing a Monte Carlo like me, how many pitchers the pitcher has thrown in before he gets pulled, for example. Pitch name is just like the full name of the abbreviated pitch we saw in the first column. Home score at the time, away score at the time, the score of the team at bat at the time, the team that was on fielding at the time, what their score was, and then after the play happened, what was the away score, what was the home score, blah, blah, blah. All right, fielding alignment, I don't know how important that is. If you want to get that granular and determining if there's a shift or whatever, there you go. Outfield fielding alignment, spin axis, just more like angle of the spin. delta home win. So what did the win expectancy of the team change after the play and run? Like stuff that I don't care. So you're probably wondering, that's a lot of data. What do I actually use? That's what I'm going to get into right now, because you can get very granular with this stuff. Like you can go back to the Statcast and not have last pitch flagged, and it will give you pitch by pitch data, even more granular. But remember, you're only limited to 40,000 rows at a time. This is just 2 days worth of data, and that's about 2,200 rows. So like I said, but you can only do about a month at a time of play-by-play data. If you did pitch-by-pitch data, that would be so tedious to extract all that data to the point where I don't even think it would be worth it. But if you really wanted to, I guess you could. But man, remember though, the more granular you get, the more data you have to wrangle and keep track of, and more data frames you have to have. So I personally use play-by-play data. I don't get that granular and do pitch-by-pitch data, because with pitch-by-pitch data, like I said, it's more data you have to wrangle. It's more you have to worry about, keep up with, and what's the payoff, right? Also, you're getting into small sample size territory. For example, who's this batter right here? Jonathan Lucroy. I don't know if he still plays, but anyway, let's use Nolan Arenado for an example. So Nolan Arenado homered on this play off of a fastball at 94 miles per hour. So I guess you could see how Nolan Arenado does against fastballs if you wanted to do pitch-by-pitch level data, but then like you're starting to get into really granular territory. You're going to run into small sample size issues, especially if you want to split it out by right versus left and all that. You're getting into small sample size territory, also overfitting territory. So honestly, how important is it, right? So if you want to do pitch-by-pitch level data, I guess you could do it on play-by-play level data and said, I don't know, I don't do it. Like I said, I think that's too granular, but I'm sure there's people who do, who are willing to put in that. But like I said, if you want to do pitch-by-pitch level data, I don't even know. Let's just do an example here. Let's do 1 day's worth of data, August 24th, pitch-by-pitch level data, and see how many rows of exports that is, because I think that would be the biggest thing. You're running into, you would literally have to do like, okay, so Rhys Hoskins faced 41 pitches in a single day, right? So let's see how many rows pitch-by-pitch level data is that was on August 24th, 2019. I'm sure it's going to be a lot. But yeah, I don't go that granular. I go to the play-by-play level data, and I don't worry about pitches. So I actually will show you the data, how I process this data. See, like it hasn't even downloaded yet. It's still processing the data. Anyway, let me go to my new baseball model, and I'll show you the rows I actually do keep myself. So I do have all the full play-by-play level data going back to 2008. And again, I'm thinking about making that public, I guess, maybe for like a nominal fee. I don't know, just like more like to support this channel, less more like me just charging people for it. But I don't know. We'll see. It depends on what you guys want. I would charge like maybe $3 for it. I don't know. But let me open like, for example, 2010. I'll show you the rows that I do keep for my model. So I keep the game date. I keep the name of the player, I keep the batter and pitcher ID, and you're probably wondering why it shows the name of the batter and not the pitcher. Well, I don't know. That's a good question. I'll show you how to get the pitcher names in a second so you can join them using a join or merge, whatever language you want to use. Events, the description of the event. So the full description of the event, stand, pitcher throws hand, home team, away team, batted ball type, inning top bot, SVID. Okay, so what that is, it wasn't populated in the last one I ran, but what this is, it's a unique just play identifier. I don't know why I keep it. I don't think I've ever actually used it, but I do. Game pack, you're going to want that. At bat number, you're going to want that so you can sort it. Pitch number, I use that to calculate, like I said earlier, the average number of pitches a batter sees in an at-bat and a pitcher throws in an at-bat. Actual type. Now, this is a column that I created myself, and I will go into more detail on that in the next video, what that is. Year, month, and day, I extracted that from the game date. Again, these are we're getting into man-made column territory here, and now we're getting into some unique stuff. Temperature, wind direction, wind speed. All right, and I'll get into all that in later videos, but those are the columns I keep personally. That way it's not as big of a file, and all these are man-made columns right here. And then counter, it's just a number 1. I'll get into that in another video. So everything, so for actual columns from the data I keep, it's 18. So I keep it simple. Just play-by-play level data is all you need. And that is that. So has our file downloaded yet? Okay, it has. So let's see how many rows that we use here. Okay, this is just 1 day worth of pitch-by-pitch data. Okay, about 5,000 rows worth of data. So you'd only be able to get about 7 to 8 days worth of rows before, so about a week's worth of data. So you'd have to go week by week, season by season. Oh man, I would not want to do that. But yeah, pitch-by-pitch level data right here is what you get. But if you really want to go that granular and really want to be that tedious, knock yourself out. But again, that's just so much more work. Like here's the deal. Let me show you this. All right. So my process stats, I have over 1,000 files of process stats, and this is just using play-by-play level data. That would be like a lot more if I use pitch-by-pitch level data. So a lot goes into it. That's just a lot more to keep track of. But the point of this video is data sources, and I think Savant has pretty much everything you need. So I said I would show you how to get the names of the pitchers. Here's how I do it. You just do a simple, and you can do this for a full season. I don't even worry about, so I actually clear the date. I don't even worry about dates or anything because you can just do this for the full season. So to get every single pitcher from the 2019 season, just do last pitch just to keep it short. You can do this, and we'll let it load. Yeah, there's a lot of process data that I could sell, perhaps, that I've got from this. So we have every single pitcher that pitched in 2019, and that's when you click the blue disc icon. Click the blue disc icon, and it'll download, and you have every single pitcher who pitched in 2019, the export. So we get the export, and this export's a little bit different, but you only need 2 columns. You need the player ID and pitcher name. That's it. You can delete everything else. And if you're wondering what did show up, like Trevor Bauer threw 914 pitches in 2019, 914 pitches that resulted in a play. So it's going to be equal to the batters faced. Total pitches, he threw 3,687, and then the average, like pitch, or the percentage of pitches that resulted in a play, the batting average against, ISO, batting average balls in play, slugging percentage, WABA, which is a stat, hits, at bats, launch speed, blah, 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 average launch speed. Stuff that's not really that important. So you can just delete all that. And there you go. You have the player ID and player name, and now you can use a join or merge command for that. And I'll show you my folder again. See, that's what I have it for batters and pitchers, and that way I can just merge IDs or join IDs if I need to do it. So anyway, that's what I have. But there's other things that I could make public for purchase. I wouldn't charge you normally like $1 or $2 just to show your support for this channel. I would give you access to that. Some other things I have a master bat IDs, for example. This is another thing I can make public. This is like every single ID that's ever played going back to 2008, right? Here's a master pitcher matrix, for example, that shows like the average home run percentage of every pitcher going back to 2008 by year, right? This is stuff I could probably make public, but stuff that I've processed from the Savant data. I've done a lot with this Savant data. It's crazy, but it's a lot of fun. But like I said, that's my preferred data source. It's free. Like I've subscribed to paid services that are a lot worse than Savant. I'm like, what am I paying for? Savant's so much better. It doesn't do everything though. It doesn't have weather. It doesn't have umpires. It doesn't have starting lineups. You can kind of get starting lineups, so I'll show you how to do that real quick, actually. You can extract starting lineups. Here's how I would do it. The only thing is you can't get DH from it. So I actually had a system last year where I extracted the DH from it, used kind of like an algorithm, which wasn't that difficult either. But it's really not that necessary because I just copy and paste starting lineups from websites every day anyway. But I was doing this before I realized I could do that, so I don't think it's really that necessary. But if you really wanted starting lineup, you have this over here: the pitcher, the fielder, the catcher, the third baseman, blah 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 blah. So what you would do is you go to inning. You would select inning, or filter if you're doing it in Python or R. Inning 1, right? At bat number 1. And there you go. At least for the home team, you could just extract these numbers right here, and that's kind of your starting lineup. But for American League, it's not going to be DH. So the algorithm I used was make a list of those numbers right there and then go through their lineup, the first lineup on the way through, and whichever number was not player ID was not in the list of the players over there would be the DH, right? So that's kind of how you do it. You don't need to do it for National League games because your pitcher is going to be in the lineup as well. At least in 2020, though. Remember, 2020 threw a lot of wrench in things. So anyway, that is that. So if you're looking for how to get weather data and stuff like that, which I do, umpire data, which I don't do, granularity, guys. So that's kind of the subject of this video, granularity. So the reason I don't do umpires, a lot of people say I should. The reason I don't do umpires is the data is kind of hard to find. I mean, you can get it. It's not hard to find. I mean, I get weather data. You can get umpire data from the same source I get my weather data from. I just feel like, an umpire is going to call like maybe 35 games from behind the plate every year. That's not a lot, and his tendencies can change year to year. It's too arbitrary. And like I said, you're getting into sample size territory issues, overfitting issues. I just feel like the juice isn't worth the squeeze. But if you're wondering where I get my weather data, well, in season I scrape it from websites, but if you're looking for like weather from the past, then I use the retro sheet database, and you download them into these, not that folder. I have it in the weather folder because the only thing I use it for is weather. So for example, 2009 Washington Nationals home games. It's a CSV file, so you have to extract it, but I just get it from here. You download these files right here. They're called event files from the retro sheet database, and you have wind speed, wind direction, and temperature. You don't have things like barometric pressure or anything like that, but if you really wanted to get that, I'm sure you could scrape it somewhere. It would be a pain in the butt just to get one stat, because you already have 3 important stats right here: info, temp, wind direction, wind speed, and I'm pretty sure this is retro sheet. Let me just make sure. Okay, yeah, the retro sheet play-by-play files, you just download them right here. That's what these are right here, event files. And this is a CSV file. You load it into Python or R or Excel if you really wanted to, and then you just grab these 3 right here. And that's all you really need. You can also need the date, so you can match the date to the day the game was played. And they have umpires in here too. If you really wanted to, you could do the same thing for umpires, but I don't. The only thing an umpire, in my opinion, would affect would be like a total, his strike zone being big or small. But like I said, it's too arbitrary. I just feel like the juice wouldn't be worth the squeeze there. And you also get play-by-play data in here as well, which is useful for the past. But the thing with the retro sheet is they don't do it like day by day during the season. So you're going to have to get play-by-play level data from somewhere during the season, which is why I do not endorse retro sheet for a current model. I just endorse getting some certain stats out of them. But like I said, I was able to extract the weather information. I'll have a whole video on weather, by the way, for more details on that. This is just a data source video, and I figured why not give, show where I get my data from. And then I just, I put it all into a nice frame. Maybe I could, this is some data I could sell as well for like a short price, but like the home team, the year, month, day, temperature, wind direction, wind speed, I'm able to put into these nice CSV files that I extracted from the retro sheet event files. And then this, if you're wondering what this is right here, weather reg, it's how I calculated a regression based on temperature, wind speed, wind going out or in, and then, that's what I use to calculate regressions based on, so I can neutralize the weather from at-bats in my play-by-play data. Again, more on that in another video. Again, this video is about data sources and granularity. How granular do you want to go? Well, you can go as granular as you want, but you're just limited by your data. So I go as deep as play-by-play and no more. But I feel like the reason you want to go play-by-play deep is so you can get splits. That's why this is important, because the issue with, like the Fangraphs data is you can get splits and everything like that, but play-by-play allows you to determine what pitcher they are facing at the time. It allows you, which means you can get granular with splits as well as opponent adjustment, something I do. I neutralize a player's stats as well based on the players they've faced. So play-by-play level data, in my opinion, is important. So that's pretty much it. For this video. I just wanted to explain to you the data source I use for my baseball analysis, which is why, in my opinion, why play-by-play level data is important. I'll get more into how I process this file in the next video, which is going to be about true outcomes and splits and all that type of stuff. All right. So anyway, that's it for the savant file. So that's that video. Again, that's all about data sources. You can get started right away with saving on your own and start playing around with that if you want to, messing around with that. Like I said, it's very powerful stuff, but I do highly recommend working with it in R or Python. I've done both. I'm doing Python right now. I did R last year, but it allows you to really work with that data a lot faster. So anyway, the next video is going to cover what I call true outcomes and splits and stuff like that. So you determine like how exactly to process that data into more digestible information for analysis. That's the next video, so stay tuned for that. But until next time, this is Sports Betting Truth signing off.